Well, Jim, on that topic, why don't we talk about some of the stuff you watched this weekend on the topic of convenient and pleasurable? 2-hour Raw. We're being a little spoiled by this. I know Netflix wants the full 3 hours, but Raw being 2 hours is so much more manageable.
Could we do some kind of petition? Like, please, Netflix, please don't give us any more. Would that work, I wonder?
Any more of that accent? What was that accent?
And that's the little Dickens urchin. Please, sir, can I have some more? The gruel of the thing.
You could have stopped at little.
Oh, for heaven's sake. What are you going to see now? Now you've upset Harley.
What?
She's laying over there.
All right,
she's got her little allergy going, her little cough.
We were on a good run of having a good show, and then we went to Raw. But again, it's a pleasurable and considerable, whatever you said before, edition of Raw. Let's go back.
Yes, on October 21st, it was a Monday night. They were in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center, named after the brother of Jackie Fargo himself. I remember Wells never made it in the business, but then when he got in banking, he fucking tore it up. And everybody's walking in, right? They're walking in from the parking lot because now that's the new fashionable thing to, shoot everybody walking into buildings, so, at the top of the program. But in this case, as Bronson Reed is walking in, Seth Rollins out of nowhere and blindsided him and beat him up with his own suitcase. And Brian, that's just an embarrassing thing when you get beat up with your own suitcase. And then Seth does the deal where he heads for Gorilla and they do the single camera, follow him through the entranceway into the ring, cut my music. And he wants Bronson Reed out there right now. And all of a sudden, here comes Pierce and security out of the entranceway, and then Bronson Reed beels one guy all the way across the stage, and he runs to the ring. And Seth dives on everybody. And then Bronson Reed just stops him and rolls him in. And more security comes out, and they go back to the floor, and Bronson Reed is going to splash Seth on the desk off of the barricade or whatever. They're just, it's KI. You love this shit. You know you do. Then he's flinging the guards everywhere like the Incredible Hulk, and he throws one guy on 5 other ones and goes for the splash off the, I guess he was either on the barricade or the timekeeper's table or whatever, goes to the announce desk, and Seth moves out of the way, and when he lands on the desk, it exploded, and the side of it bounced up in the fucking air. It was like they had special effects because he's so fucking corpulent and heavy. And boom! And it got a huge pop, and they're chanting holy shit, which they got to figure out a better way to bleep holy shit than just bleep every second and a half, and you don't know what the fuck's going on.
They figured out a better way. Netflix.
You mean we'll get our fix on Netflix? Ladies and gentlemen, we've been doing this stuff way too long. I think that's pretty much consensus of opinion at this point. But anyway, they're holding both of them apart, and the fans are singing Seth Franklin Rollins' song, and the announcers are doing their on-camera standing up because their desk has been demolished. Besides the fact that was like 7 minutes of great shit, is that the first time, I'm trying to think, because I see so many people, because everybody does it so often that somebody gets jumped in the back. But is this the first time that they actually interrupted the walk-in that they've been doing since they got the new producing fellow and just jumped in on that?
Lee Fitting is his name. And
Lee Fitting.
I don't know for certain, but I don't remember another time since they've introduced that they've done anything other than that.
But that's great, because all of a sudden now you're like, oh shit, this was kind of. And again, somebody's going to say, well, he hates it when they do it on AEW. Yeah, because they do it 7 times a show every week. That's the point I'm making. You were kind of lulled into, a bunch of these motherfuckers are going to walk in the building All of a sudden, holy shit, and off we go. That's the way you establish what the normal is supposed to be, and then you goddamn, go crazy. But anyway, I like that segment. And I know you like the chaos and the anarchy there, Brian.
Everyone talks about the fine job you did in OVW with Batista and Cena and Lesnar and Orton. But look at all the TV time Kenny Dykstra is getting on TV right now. Or Ken Doane, whatever name he has.
Ken Doane.
He's all over the place. And he looks young, too, still, so...
Well, he had a rocky road to get there, but he was young. That's the problem. Is they sent him to us when he was like 18 years old. Maybe he was 19. And he became a star in his own mind early because of the pressures of being a young man in that position, and then had to be readjusted. I won't mention any names, but apparently he had gotten over, and this, I think, I'm trying to remember, this might have been right after I departed OVW, but whatever the time frame was, but he came out one day, Ken Doane did, in the parking lot of the Davis Arena, and one of the guys, who shall be nameless, was letting the air out of his tires, out of Doane's tires in his car. And Doane said, "What are you doing?" And the guy looked at him and said, "I'm letting the air out of your tires." Because you're a dick. And then, of course, instead of taking that as everybody previously in the wrestling business would have, as holy shit, I guess I'm a fucking dick, I got to do something about this, he called the office and complained and got the guys worse mad at him. But he was a teenager.
And that was his road to being an agent for WWE.
Well, no, there was 18 years in the middle, though, that, you didn't hear much from him.
I like the Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins stuff. It's my favorite stuff with Rollins, even more than the Punk stuff because it never really went anywhere. I hate the fact they're doing this at Crown Jewel. It's hard to get into a match at 1 PM or whatever, but, I've liked everything with Bronson Reed since Rollins left for a while, and I like this opening segment a lot.
Well, they finally got Reed over as some kind of wrecking ball instead of a guy in a suit that his mother thinks he's nice or whatever all that foolishness was. So that's a positive. And as we mentioned, it's good they also got Bronson Reed away from Brown Strongman because apparently
he did get hurt. You asked me when they had that match, you said, does he always run like that? Or whatever you said, he's running funny.
Well, yeah, you could tell that the last time that they had whatever they did, he had hurt something in his leg, I believe it was.
Yeah. See, I like that stuff. The stuff with him and Bronson Reed was great to me. It was Jack Pfeffer 2024. I loved it.
Well, I'm sorry. You want a pickle?
But you're right. They got him over as a wrecking ball. And because of his build and his frame, that's the perfect way to do it. And it's the kind of thing that Vince would have never gotten right. And he didn't get right with him for a couple of years. And, look at, in the last year, from Drew McIntyre to this guy, guys that seemed dead. I mean, dead on the roster, they were able to rejuvenate.
Yeah, and or resuscitate.
Yes.
Would you rather be rejuvenated or resuscitated?
By who?
Or regurgitated?
By who?
Well, it just depends. If you're going to make it, you can't be picky. It's like, no, don't give me mouth to mouth. Wait till somebody better looking comes along. Well, fucking die then. But anyway, speaking of dying, Lillian Garcia was back for old Sam Irvin. Oh, Sam, we barely knew ye. As we mentioned on the previous program that we did, Samantha Irvin has given her notice and a very kind and flattering and complimentary message she sent out to all her co-workers and fans and et cetera, that she's moving on to. Do we know what she's moving on to yet? Because automatically old Ricochet tweeted that she's not coming to AEW, so ha, because people were on him or whatever the fuck. But do we know where she's moving on? I'm moving on.
Yeah, Ricochet's promos on Twitter, turns out, are better than the ones with his words.
Well, that's because you can't hear his voice. on Twitter. That helps it immensely because it's not the words he uses, it's the tonal quality in which they're delivered with the emotionless. But nevertheless, where's Sam going?
I think a lot of people are assuming that it's music. It's a music project of some sort. There are rumors that she wanted to do more musically, and WWE, for whatever reason, didn't want her to, or didn't want her to do what she wanted, or who knows exactly what. This is a different company than it was a few years ago, and there are plenty of people who do outside projects in that company.
Well, that's just what I was just going to say, is that there's a bunch of people, but did they want possibly a piece of something, or want her to do the outside projects inside? Because now they own, agenting firms and bull riding and every kind of fighting in the world, and Hollywood gaga, perhaps tanning salons, a chain of goddamn health food stores. We don't know what these people are into. Did they want her to be on their record company or something, or have some involvement in her personal business?
Well, we don't know.
And a woman has the right to do what she wants with her own vocal cords, Well,
she's under contract. But I mean, I get your point, but yes. What did you think? We're talking about Samantha Irvin. We just put up a clip about that, obviously. Lillian Garcia returning. She looks great for her age, but she is someone...
What is her age? I don't know how old she would be.
Hold on. Someone told me this a few years ago.
Is she like 63 in that case? Oh, yeah. Would that be a gilf? She's what?
58.
58 years. Is that a gilf?
Listen, I don't know what kind of videos you watch. I don't know what goes on over there with you.
Well, I did not even know they made those, but maybe she could corner the market. She's 58 years old.
But they're bringing her back. Again, she is a...
How did they get her that quick? Didn't Sam just give her notice like that afternoon? I mean, she didn't work out any kind of goddamn 2-week fucking notice period or anything. Was Lillian just happen to be there? How did this come together, Brian? What do your sources say?
My sources have not really had too many... They've been busier than looking into the Lillian Garcia beat. I must apologize. But my question is going to be...
We should have had the airport staked out, but what's your question?
My question is, Lillian Garcia returning, a voice from, a good period of time. I mean, what was it, 20 years? I mean, when did she start? The late 90s?
I don't know. I never knew her. Well, so it must have been after 99. I don't remember her being around till I moved to Louisville and got away from these people.
Is that the right thing to do? WWE, their ring announcers seem to get more attention today than they, have since Howard Finkel. Do you go back to someone like that, or do you try to develop a new ring announcer? Do you have...
Well, no, I doubt. I mean, she might be there next week, but I don't think this is, a reprise of past glory. It sounds like that they didn't know. They either didn't know that Samantha was going to be leaving, or they knew she was going to be leaving, but they wanted a familiar name to soften the shock while they transition somebody. They've got other ring announcers in the company, don't they? I mean, if something had happened to Samantha, like she got whooping belch or something, would there have been somebody else to fill in the entire WWE umbrella?
Yeah, the woman who does SmackDown, the guy on NXT. I mean, there are various people.
Yeah, so I know they want a different person on each show, but it sounds like they didn't know a lot ahead of time. They thought, well, we don't want people to think, something's being disrupted or call attention to it, so we'll have Lillian Garcia come back. But would she want, at almost 60 years old, to go back on the road every fucking Monday night and potentially to Saudi fucking Arabia to do this shit? Especially they give her the big introduction and welcome her back, and she blows her first introduction. Maybe she looks great for 58, but the Alzheimer's is setting in early.
Come on.
She said it was a #1 containers tournament. On the left, we have boxes from Uline. On the right, we have
Tupperware
from Seal Test, and the Tupperware will be the special referee. And the #1 containers tournament. But I don't think this is... No, I mean, I'm not saying anything against her either, but I would think they would want, if they want all these young people to be watching, they would want, one of their young, fresh, ring announcers. Except, well, I don't know why the guy on NXT with that hair and that wardrobe, why they think anybody'd watch that, but looks like fucking Emmett Kelly's love child. Kids are going to have to Google that one, aren't they?
Don't Google that, kids, but let's move on.
There's nothing wrong with Emmett Kelly.
But if you Google Emmett Kelly's love child, you're making some weird AI image.
Well, you might. Actually, he'd be the love child of Emmett Kelly and fucking Kenny McIntosh. That's what it would be. Anyway, so where were we? Oh, the new gay. God damn it.
We weren't there. That's what I could tell you.
The New Day wrestled. See, The New Day wrestled.
I thought nothing was going to top Netflix. And then you hit me with the new gay.
All right, nutfuck. The New Day wrestled Karrion Kross's crew. What is their the final?
The Dukes of the
Dukes of Revelation. That would be fucking great.
The Final Testament. I forgot that's what it was. You said final. That's right.
And everybody that joins the group fills out their last will and testament because it kills their careers. And there's poor Paul Ellering there and now we know what he's there for. He's there to fucking take a bump. They beat up the oldest guy in the group. The girl, Scarlett Pimpernel, there again, a fucking classic literary reference on a wrestling podcast. You got Cross back there looking like, goddamn member of the, board of directors of a massage parlor. And then the two fat guys that, I decided to try to watch this because.
Oh, thank God.
Well, they look like two bouncers from the bar across the street wandered into the arena, and they work like it too. And I mean, either they were, the timing was a step off, or the punch was a little step off, or the whole thing was a step off. And the New Day were trying, and heaven knows we haven't been fans of theirs. But my God, it was like they were trying to work with two fucking beached walruses here. And I've seen leaves falling off the trees here lately be more exciting than a lot of parts of this, because what the fuck could you do? And it looks like they're either confused or blown up or whatever, these two guys. And the break spot was The Miz walking out to the ring. That picked... I mean, usually it's a dive or somebody gets thrown through furniture or whatever. It's Miz walking out, and it picked up the business in the match. And then when they came back, they were focusing on Miz and Cross talking to each other at ringside. And Occam and Razor are these, and I wrote, how did this get on the main roster? And then I'm thinking, I met these guys one time. You know what they said to me?
No, you met them?
Yeah, they said, Mr. Cornette, did you see our last match? And I said, son, I certainly hope so. And finally, Kofi made a comeback on one of the human water beds. And R-Truth came down and tackled The Miz at ringside, and that got a big pop. They'd been waiting to see something, and he nailed Cross, and then Kofi rolled up at fat ass number one. I don't know which. 1, 2, 3. So, and then the New Day both leave, and they're going back to the locker room, and they're in the entranceway, but R-Truth is there celebrating. But the 5 fucking heels are still there, so they all jump R-Truth. And Kofi wants to go back and and help him and make the save, but Woods is holding him back. Hey, it's not our business, but Kofi's like, no, we should go. We should go. No, don't do it. He was not trying to break free, right? And to me, did you see that? He was like, no, stay back here, but we should go. Motherfucker, you're a grown man. How is this guy, unless he's fighting you, how's he really holding you back if you really want to go? Is my point. Did you see that, Brian?
Yeah, Kofi could have gone to the ring anytime he wanted.
Yes. So then all of a sudden the lights went out and the piano music started. And I know that when the violins begin, the violence begins. But now we know when the piano music starts, the penises appear.
I'm sorry?
Well, because the lights came on and the Wyatts were in the ring and a bigger bunch of dicks I've never seen. And they beat up the heels, and the two fat guys couldn't even get beat up very well. And then they fought out in the crowd. And the heels have a lot of heat. Nobody was trying to knife them or anything, but the Miz is still in the ring. He's saved himself. He's hid. Everybody else has run off or whatever the fuck. And all of a sudden in the ring appears Uncle Howdy behind him, and right as he's going to grab Miz and give him the whatever the fuck they call the thing that he gives people. Poor Paul Ellering. What is he? He's like 72 or whatever. He never gets to speak. He never gets to interfere. He's almost never even referred to anymore. He's there for whatever reason. We have no idea. Well, finally, he shoves the Miz out of the way, and Captain Howdy snatches him in the mandible claw and clawed him to death. See, he couldn't give him the fucking move because Jesus Christ. But now he put the mandible claw on him and put him down and cranked it until Paul was laying there completely unconscious and immobile, and potentially he is expired and is no longer with us from the mandible claw.
You know, I was just thinking the other day, I guess they kind of gave up on the Wyatt thing because they were really shoving it down our throat, and then it kind of went away, and then here it was. And it had that moment, which it's almost AEW-esque. The baby faces go to get the heel, and the old man heel sacrifices himself to save the other diabolical heel, and then he dies at the hands of the baby faces. Right? Like what? And no one cares about Ellering. Like there's been nothing done to establish him on this show. He's never said anything.
Well, no, the only emotion they got from that was, why are they doing that to poor old Paul Ellering? He hadn't done anything to anybody.
Did you see him sitting in the corner waiting for it? Because he didn't know what to do. While everyone's brawling around, what's Ellering going to do? He's not going to go out there and throw a punch or take a punch. So he just kind of squatted in the corner.
Honestly, I wouldn't bet against Paul in a shoot situation against at least half of this roster, especially Miz, but he probably didn't want any of these fuckers to potato him accidentally. But there you have it.
Well, you know, Jim, a lot of people think that the reason Paul Ellering hasn't been talking is because actually all these appearances he's been making, he's been listening to music, and you just don't notice it.
Well, yeah, because he's got the Raycon everyday wireless earbuds in. That way he doesn't have the wires hanging out of his ear, and you don't see it. Because especially on a man his age, if you did see it, you might think, well, hearing aids, but you can't really see these at all because they have the vibrant colored skin tone shaded activity going on. I double negative that. They have a variety of vibrant colors is what. So you don't just have white or black. It's not just a black and white issue. They got all the colors of the rainbow and polka dotted if you're a Dusty Rhodes fans. But here's the thing. You know, Brian, they've got the thing Black Friday where they have the big sales, right? People are trampled, gored, impaled and disemboweled over at Target and Kmart and Walmart and places like that on Black Friday, right? Have you heard about they got the Cyber Monday now? Have you heard about that?
I prefer Blue Tuesday.
Well, it's just another Manic Monday under normal circumstances, but on Cyber Monday, they do the same thing, I guess, online, where people take their computers and bash each other over the head with them. But you don't have to wait for those things, is the point I'm trying to make. You do not have to wait for Black Friday or Cyber Monday. You know, the Mouse's Ear used to have Titty Tuesday.
Did they really?
They were 50% off. You only got to see one. But here's the thing.
How does that help the customer?
Well, it's cheaper. Raycon gives you these prices every day of the week.
Is it cheaper or is it full price if you want to see both?
Well, it's full price plus a tip if you want to see both, pal. What kind of piker are you? Think you're going to get nipple for the cover charge?
Is there a drink minimum?
As many as you can. That's the minimum. But with Raycon, like I said, you're getting these prices every day of the week, and you get to see both of them at the same time when you stick them in your ears. And they are about the size of the nipples that there used to be. Well, nevertheless, it's like having nipples in your ear.
It's not like that. You see,
it can be like having oral sex, AURAL.
Nevertheless was the clean break.
Nipple in your ear.
No, again, let's move. Let's talk about Raycon in your ear with good music, good sounds,
good music. Nipple in your ear, sunroof top, dig in the scene with a gangster lean. Ooh. But nevertheless, you can play whatever you want on the 32-hour battery life that the Raycons provide for you, and also the active noise cancellation. And also the incredible multi-point connectivity that can see you connect to multiple points of things. You Raycon and earbud aficionados know exactly what I'm talking about. So I wish you'd explain it to me. But nevertheless, Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio at just half the price as these other guys, the price gougers. That's what they are, selling you overpriced stuff to stick in your head when Raycon will sell you stuff to stick in your head that's just as good for half the money. So you can save the half of the money and stick it in some other orifice. And I mentioned the vibrant colors, and now's the perfect time to scoop them up because guess what? The discount is if you go to buy Raycon, that's BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/JCE. Guess what the discount is, Brian?
What?
30%.
Wow.
Not 20, not 25, as we often offer, 30% on anything site-wide. So if you order 25 pairs of earbuds, you would save enough money to finance a revolution in a small banana republic. And that's just, and if you tell your financial advisor that, he'll know exactly how to record it. So go to buyraycon.com/JCE right now. Don't even listen to the rest of it. Put our program on pause. Do this now. Come back to us. We'll wait on you. 30% off site-wide.
That's right. Get that Jim Cornette Gangsta Lean with Raycon. One more time. What's that?
What's that song? Nipple in your ear, sunroof top, dig in the scene with a gangster lean. Ooh.
That's not the song, but let's find out how listeners can get that song one more time.
Get that song? Go to buyraycon.com/JCE, 30% off site-wide and that song.
Nipples not included. But let's go back to Raw, Jim. Raw rolls on.
Well, it's rolling on. Adam Pearce was in the back. He was about to make a major declaration when all of a sudden here, Bronson Reed and Seth Franklin Rollins getting another big fucking fight and go over the equipment cases. And everybody screaming and trying to pull them apart. And, well, obviously we can't grieve forever, so we get out of that. But it's starting to become a recurring theme, Brian. And then they did a recap from SmackDown of the Bloodline and what's going on, because tonight, which we'll talk about when it happens later tonight, Bronson Reed is challenging Jey Uso for the Intercontinental title. And also because the bloodline is the big story. It's the headline story in the company. And then we got Liv and Raquel versus Damage Control. And I've got to so I'm not going to critique the match because, these things are what they are, but I got to make an observation about Raquel Rodriguez or Raquel Gonzalez.
You don't have to.
Oh, I do have to, because I'm going to make it. I've got a song I want to sing, and I'm going to sing it. But what did they change her name to? God damn it now.
It's Raquel Rodriguez.
Okay, it's Rodriguez. It was Gonzalez before the point is, we first saw her in NXT, I believe it was Raquel Gonzalez. And I said, boy, she's got size and she's got a look. She's not a cute little Barbie doll. She's not a happy little girl that's achieving her childhood dream. She's got a striking look and, maybe they could do something, right? And then the next time that I saw her, I think is when they brought her up to the mat. That's when they made her Raquel Rodriguez. And she kind of, for a short time, I believe, still looked like Raquel looked. And then, remember, they lightened her hair and they gave her a fluff and they had her wearing a bunch of girly makeup and they had her smiling from ear to ear like a goddamn deranged circus clown and doing the back spread, which was good, but that's it. But otherwise, they had made her so girly, and I said, oh, this is a Vince. He's taken away, what was it kind of intimidating about her? Do you remember me commenting on that?
I do, yes. And it's on YouTube.
Well, now, and what is that YouTube channel, Brian?
The official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Jim Cornette. It'll come right up.
I keep forgetting about that. But anyway, so now they've gone all the way back the other way, and she's actually even more intimidating and more sinister and more unsmiling and, whatever the fuck. But she's supposed to be, and she's supposed to look mean, but they went, it's like fucking LA Knight and the male model thing. They went completely away from what was first interesting about a person and then end up after 3 years or 6 months or however long it was with LA Knight, they go right back. And I love the idea of Raquel being the Diesel to Shawn Michaels is Liv Morgan. Would you say that's kind of a fair comparison for our look and vibe and the little smart ass and the big fucking enforcer, right? Is that a far-fetched comparison to make?
No, I think it's fair.
Then why do they have her stooging for these goddamn, Japanese cousins of Diamond Lil and Darlin Dagmar? And doing this overly choreographed, phony-looking bullshit that just kills her aura. Could you see Kevin Nash adopting the same philosophy of flying for fucking Kai and Tai?
No.
No. Okay, so I don't know what they're fucking doing here. But nevertheless, that's the thing is that they haven't had time to build this relationship, and because these other girls have been used in a prominent position, apparently they feel like they gotta, fly around for it, but it's overly choreographed, too complicated shit that you can't, Raquel nor really anyone could do smoothly or should be doing smoothly. And it makes her look like she's doing it on purpose, and that just kills the deal. And then also on the way to the ring, Liv and Raquel were announced by Lillian Garcia as accompanied by Dominic Mysterio, and he wasn't even there.
Yeah, it was the first thing she said, and they're both out there. You're like, where's he? Is he in the ring?
Yeah, so anyway, the match, somehow Lash Legend and Jakarta Jackson beat up the baby faces and were facing off with Liv and Raquel, and it was a DQ, and here comes Rhea Ripley. So now business picks up. And that's when Rhea hits the ring, now they want to see this. And she gets to fight with Raquel and pulls the rope, and Raquel bumps to the floor, and she grabs Liv and knee lifts her and gets the clover leaf on. and holds her up off the ground, which looked great. And then drop kicks Raquel and goes back to Liv and goes for the riptide. And there's Dominic. So they again, poor Lillian Garcia probably in some type of meeting after the meeting. They had their production meeting. Dominic was going to be at ringside. Then the agent laid the match out. And then they realized, well, it'd be better if Dominic shows up as a surprise instead of all this other shit he don't need to be out there for. And nobody told Lillian. That's how that kind of shit happens. But anyway, that's, so there's Dominic, and he pulls Liv to safety, and then Rhea jerks Dominic in over the top rope and gets a huge pop and puts a cloverleaf on him. And Liv and Raquel both together pull him out. And that part was some great shit. That made you forget about the match, which was bleh. But again, Rhea Ripley and Liv and now with Raquel, that issue, and Dominic, the people are fucking loving. Your thoughts?
I can't add too much to that expert analysis of the entire deal there, as they say.
The whole deal, the whole dang deal. What is it they're calling the clover leaf? Is when she being Rhea intertwines her arms around the victim's legs and stands up with them. And I'm trying to think what they're calling it now, but nevertheless, that's impressive, and nobody else, well, male or female, has been doing that for I don't know how long, and I don't think there's too many other females that could do it. It's perfect for her. But as I said, it made you forget about the match. And then at 9 o'clock, there's Adam Pearce, who's about to make a very important proclamation. And Bronson Reed comes in and tackles Seth Rollins, and boom, and they have a big pull apart. It's the third one of the night. And finally, Pearce flips. And it sounded just like when he used to flip at Ring of Honor. No, I'm kidding. But he made the match for the crown jewel. He said, "You idiots, I was going to give you what you wanted anyway. You didn't have to do all of this, but goddamn it." He didn't say goddamn it. He would have got bleeped. The match is on for crown jewel. So now they're loading up crown jewel, which, as you mentioned earlier in the program, it makes you almost, when you're trying to get up for something, almost sick to your stomach when you're trying to get up for a big fight at 1 PM or whatever.
Is it start at 1?
Well, I don't know. You said that earlier.
I did say that earlier.
Are they in?
Didn't they start at 11 once?
Well, I mean, you never know when these people are going to start. But is there any way you can Google that so that we know whether to dread it or not? I mean, between now and later.
WWE Crown Jewel.
As Mama Cornette would say, just do it before it's over with.
1 PM on Peacock.
What time is it on everything else?
Well, it'll be on everything. It'll be on Peacock. That's the official home.
Peacock!
1 PM.
Peacock! Peacock! Here's something for you anti-abortion people. If an embryo is a real person, then why doesn't a fried egg taste like fried chicken?
Okay, what the fuck? Where did this come from? We're talking about Crown Jewel.
The bird noise made me think, the peacock!
Made you think of a bird embryo?
Made me think, well, that's just an interesting question. Have you ever thought about that?
I had not thought about it. It is an interesting question.
If an embryo is a person, why doesn't a fried egg taste like fried chicken? See? Think about that.
Any other interesting thoughts you have here today?
Well, we're coming up on Mysterio and Dragon Lee with old Zelina against the Creed brothers, Green and his brother Goose Shit.
I did not watch this match.
Boy, I'll tell you what. The baby faces won. And at the start of the match, we discovered that Trick Williams, our old friend Trick from NXT, he was at ringside, and a guy right behind him wearing a Cornette face t-shirt. Thank you very much, young man, for the... And those are available also at JimCornette.com. along with the thank you, fuck you, bye shirts that are back on sale.
Yeah, he had a sign. What was it? It was like, hello, Quincy, or...
No, hello, Wheezy.
Wheezy.
Hello, Wheezy. It may have been George Jefferson. They were, they were in Philadelphia. Where were the Jeffersons? Where were they living? They were in New York, weren't they? Yeah.
On the east side.
So they're only 100 miles.
100 miles?
To Philadelphia?
New York to Philadelphia? It has to be much less than that.
Well, it's about, it's goddamn, sometimes it could be 5 hours to drive, but I thought about 90 or 100 miles. Well, Google that then, son of a bitch.
No, you don't have to call me names. You don't have to call me names, fuckface. What is that?
I say that with all the love in the world, but...
80 miles.
All right, so goddamn 100 miles. It depends on which part of the boroughs you leave and which fucking part of goddamn... If you go to Camden...
Wait, hold on, that's wrong.
Oh, okay, now you change your story.
That's if you fly. It's 80 miles if you fly. The shortest distance between New York and Philadelphia airline is 80.56 miles.
Okay, I've never flown to New York from Philly or vice versa because that would be idiotic to fly 80 miles.
But 94 miles, it's saying here.
All right,
97 miles, another source is saying.
Do I hear 100?
No one's saying 100, though. That's why you're completely wrong. You just have to admit you're completely far off.
Completely wrong. It was 97 miles.
97.3, apparently.
Almost 98.
No, almost 97. We're not rounding up from 3 to the next whole number. Get out of here. What, are you giving away our money? What is this?
I'm just, how much is this going to cost? What am I buying?
I'm going to have to check out Netflix and see what I could do to take care of this situation.
Well, I'll stick with Peacock. Anyway, so they were in the back. And for some reason that I came in the middle of, Carlito is pitching the idea to Pierce that Dominic should face Gunther. And and Pierce was laughing at that. And Pierce said if Dominic can beat a former world champion, then he'll think about it. So next week, somehow, Dominic is going to end up beating somebody who was accidentally a world champion at something. And then we're going to salivate to see Gunther chop him until his kids are born dizzy. That's basically the thought process, don't you think?
Was this the segment that everyone was talking about with Carlito? Because I didn't watch it when it first aired.
Well, yeah, that had to be because that was the only one.
Oh, because, he got in trouble. Or the word is that he got in trouble for his ad lib. Were Damage Control in the room also?
Oh, good Lord, I can't remember. I think it was just him. Well, they may have passed like 2 ships in the night, one of those type of deals. But I don't know because I saw it was Carlito and I wasn't going to fucking watch. And then I said, oh, fuck it, I'll stop. And he's pitching this match. So I don't know what he might have ad-libbed.
Well, let me see what I can find here. But the story...
Well, if you're going to cover this beat, yeah, I want to know now what in the fuck's going on here.
I thought you would have seen it. It was all that anyone was talking about with Carlito. It's all anyone has ever talked about with Carlito.
Well, but the thing is, I don't know what the script was, so I don't know what he might have ad-libbed. I want to find out and get to the root of it if some pro wrestler actually bothered to goddamn come up with some shit on his own around here these days.
All right, there's various people who it looks like have put a version of this on YouTube. Let me see if any of these work.
Guys, listen, I saw it. Listen, I saw what they did. I saw what Lash and Jakar did. I'm going to talk to the other GMs. Trust me on this. We're going to figure out a solution. We're going to figure it out, okay? I give you my word. Thank you. Let me get through tonight.
Now, see, there was where that the Damage Control folks would have been involved in there, and they're getting something, and then Carlito apparently walks in when we want to make sure that we've set the scene properly here.
Pierce is dealing with Damage Control as general manager. Here comes Carlito.
I gotta learn Chinese.
So apparently he said, I gotta learn Chinese. So there's a lot of people upset because they think it's, I guess, racially insensitive that he would say that, the Carlito character who's the dimwit of Judgment Day.
What the fuck? He's a dimwit heel.
That's what I thought too. It's like, how could you get upset
wait a
about
minute.
that?
Didn't we establish that one of those girls was not from Japan but was Chinese at one point the group, or not?
No, that was she's gone now. That was Xia Li.
Oh.
This is Io Sky and Kairi Sane, and them and Asuka, who's been injured. They're all Japanese.
Oh.
And they barely said anything there, as you heard, and I guess they just chattered as they walked out. And Carlito decided to walk in and ad-lib.
I gotta learn Chinese.
I gotta learn Chinese. So a lot of people were really upset, and apparently WWE didn't appreciate him deciding to show his improv skills here at this moment.
What the fuck? He's a fucking goofy heel. They've been listening to R-Truth for fucking 15 years, blather on. Again, there are legitimate problems in the world, and people had time to get mad about a fucking ad-lib that I couldn't hear.
Well, they've edited out, they edited the phrase out of whatever's online now and everything.
Oh my God, now, my God, what does he say? I gotta learn to eat pussy? What the fuck is he saying?
Because if he said, to me, that's what made it almost work. Not to really put over the comedic stylings of Carlito.
Appearing at the Boom Boom Room.
But that the putz from the Judgment Day would hear two Japanese women talking to each other and think that they're talking in Chinese. Because he wants to know what they're saying. But again, people...
Especially since technically English is his second language because he is Puerto Rican and is a native Hispanic fellow. So are they supposed to know down in Puerto Rico the difference in the dialects between the various Asian countries?
Well, again, whether or not there's an issue with what he said, and I think a lot of people thought there was, do you want to be generous, your mid-card talent ad-libbing on your live show? Like that. In this specific case, for instance.
Well, and for one thing, that's not even an ad lib as much as an aside or a throwaway line or whatever that you would put into something that you were doing that was scripted just to make it look more natural as you come in and other people are talking or whatever. And I would have never batted an eye at hearing that or thinking that. But yes, I wouldn't really, particularly if I was booking, put anybody on my TV show that couldn't fucking ad-lib and make the shit that I gave them better. If they couldn't do that, I wouldn't want them on the show. Even in OVW, I always said, here is your story. It's written down because I don't have the time to go around and tell it all to every 25 guys that's on the show individually 3 times. So I'm telling you once, and it's written down exactly what I'm telling you. Now, there's the story you're telling. Make it yours. Put it in your own words. If I want you to say something specifically, that's underlined. And so there's going to be some element of ad-libbing unless they're just reciting shit that was written for them by some slap nuts, as Jeff would say. And that's what it sounds like a lot of these guys are doing. So I don't have sympathy for people who don't like ad-libbing. And hey, some of them don't work. Some of them fall flat. As long as you don't say fuck on TV, I'm probably going to be on your side.
And again, if you're someone who has a problem with this, why exactly? That's what I don't understand. It's a character who's a moron. It's a moron character who doesn't know the language of the two people that just walked by him.
Yeah, wait, but you think Carly's going to be sitting out there going, God damn it, I wish they'd lay off the moron shit.
No, I'm not saying a real guy. I mean, I'm sure he's a genius in real life. I'm sure he's brilliant.
He graduated a number of major universities.
But the point is, if the character went in there and said something smart or intelligent, it wouldn't have worked. The issue is whether or not he should ad-lib or not in a highly scripted situation like that is.
Again, I haven't performed for the organization over the past few years to know how scripted it is. It appears to be very scripted, but who has flexibility or what they consider an ad lib? I mean, my God, do you have to say hello instead of hi? Or what is these people's criteria to stick to the fucking printed page, but that's why there's so little emotion in any of this except from the very best performers. The middle card guys, to me, the middle card talent are the ones that suffer more from just being scripted out the ass because then they sound like everybody else and they don't have the pull yet to say, hey, I can do this fucking promo. Just give me the goddamn gist of it. And so they just have to do the same shit all the time.
Hey, two things. One, if you're Adam Pearce, what do you think of Carlito saying that all of a sudden right next to you when you don't expect it? And two, what do you think of the new trend of them seemingly getting photocopies of program covers and posters and taping them to the walls? It doesn't look very professional at all, but it's nice to have, I guess. But what do you think of that?
Well, yeah, I've got the Dusty program is from the Atlanta program, the Ringsider. I've got that one. It's like a 1976-ish era. There's a Crockett Promotions poster from the Mid-Atlantic. I think it's at Roanoke or somewhere in Virginia. The multicolored poster, although that's a reproduction that's smaller than the real ones were. And then, but yeah, just some program covers of the Peter Maivia's in there. I mean, I get that they're,
of course,
obvious reasons, but I get that they're trying to decorate, and pay homage to the greats and the legends, but it could look a little bit more professionally put together, couldn't it? Than we ran this off on the machine and just stuck it up today.
Yeah, everything just looks like it's from a color printer.
Yeah, TNA built a fucking fishbowl for Shark Boy to live in. The WWE can't at least get frames from Target.
Otherwise, we believe that the general manager said, someone please make me color photocopies of Peter Maivia and Fred Blassie on programs. I really want that Fred Blassie photo in my office.
But anyway, who were we talking about and what was happening when we did?
I think we finished talking about Carlito.
Carlito. Oh, and the ad, and just with Pierce. You said, what do you think Pierce thought? I bet you it didn't even register on. I've done promos with Pierce in Ring of Honor, and you say things when you walk in or you walk out or whatever that just off the cuff that. He probably, and also Pierce being of a certain age, he's probably thinking, yeah, this is a fucking idiot on Gilligan's Island. So, of course, he'd say something like that. And they went on with their business, and nobody thought anything about it until somebody decided, oh, my God, what the hell? That's terrible. What in the fuck? There's real things going on in the world until November 5th. Then hopefully everything will be back to normal or there will be no world. But you don't need to get mad about that.
No.
Are you mad?
I'm not mad. I thought that was the, okay, let's move on with this.
Well, this is your show. I'm waiting for direction.
It's your Raw. I thought there was more Raw.
No, but there is the main event's coming up. But I'm a goddamn professional. I'm waiting until the host asks me.
You're a professional.
You move on.
You don't even need a host. That's how professional you are. You're an amazing talent.
Yes, well, now's the time to start telling the truth. So, it's Jey Uso and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. And Jey came out the entranceway tonight, or that night, or on that event. Instead of through the crowd down the bowl, I wondered, was there a security concern? They were in Philadelphia. That's where they took fucking Doink down.
I think the concern was he was going to blow himself up if he went through the crowd. He wouldn't be able to work the match.
That may be possible. Also, because he can't do a fucking promo after he does his entrance. How's he going to go 20 minutes with Braun fucking Breaker, right? So, but there was still the waving and the yeeting and everything. So it's over. It gave him a break because those fucking stairs are steep too. But again, I want to see this match, and they start out with a fight, and Braun gets clotheslined to the floor, and they go to break in 30 seconds. I'm like, And I think, actually, I think they went through 2 breaks on this. So it was broken up, and truthfully, until we got to the meat of the matter, this was not I don't want to do a disservice to Braun because it wasn't necessarily his fault. Although part of it was in terms of, unless Jey Uso just said, unless we do this convoluted back and forth on the apron and the floor where the referee has to stand there slack-jawed and not count us, and nothing happens for an inordinately long period of time until finally something happens. Unless Jey Uso said, unless we do that, I'm not going to fucking work with you, then part of it's Braun's fault. But when Braun's in control and his heel aggression and attitude and the pace, the methodical way he picks people apart, that's great. But when they were trying to go back and forth with him and Jey, and I don't know whether it's a case of, I don't believe Jey Uso's timing is the greatest in the world and Braun's green. But the first part of the match was not as scintillating as we have come to expect from Braun Breaker. Would you agree?
Yeah, I didn't think it was too special of a match.
And Braun hit the Breakensteiner, running and leaping to the top, and that was another break spot, blah, blah, blah. But finally, it didn't really click or whatever until Uso finally hit a spear, boom, and got a 2 count. And then here came Solo and Jacob Fatu showing they've got tickets. They bought front row seats. I wonder if those 2 seats on the front row were open all night long. Because it's almost 10 o'clock. The show's almost off the air. They just got here. Do you think they went to that length, or did they just fucking move somebody out in a previous break?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I know somebody that has a Cornette face shirt was there in the audience. I'd like to hear a report. But anyway, so then now...
You better file that report, you understand?
You better file that report. You're indebted to me if you're wearing my clothing on national television. I need papers. So Jey goes to the floor to talk to Solo. What are you doing? Solo's like, I'm trying to help you. And Braun takes over, but Jey posts Braun, and then the Tongas appear. And Jey super kicks both of those guys. And Solo comes over the rail and argues with Jey. And Braun goes for the big spear, but Solo shoves Jey out of the way, and Braun spears Solo. I mean, what the fuck now? And Braun puts Jey back in the ring, but Jacob is not happy. And he comes over the rail, and when Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu face off, the people were fucking going crazy.
Yeah, what'd you think of that moment?
And again, they've got so many matches that they don't even need to have yet, that the people will go apeshit over. It's insane. But yeah, can you imagine Braun Breaker? Because Braun will be a heel until he gets over to the main event level, and the people are going to switch him babyface before they actually switch him babyface. But he's too good to not like. The dogs are barking and what they're already giving him his shit, but he's still a badass, and that's what's going to make him a bigger babyface eventually. But against Jacob Fatu, that with the proper build, they can get a fucking huge deal out of that. And the fans were barking. And then Jey dove on both of them, which he would do, and broke up the potential before they had to fight, right? Before it was like, well, goddamn it, do something. And then they go back to the ring, and Jey comes off the top rope, but Braun raises his knees. But Jey goes goes with 2 super kicks or kicks of some kind, and a spear and a splash, gets a 2 count. And as the agents are down at ringside kicking the Tongas out, Jacob gives Jey the big kick, and Samoan drops him on the fucking desk. And then Braun rolls him in and hits him with the spear, 1, 2, 3, and wins the belt back. New champion. And so now, this is perfect. I've got to say, again, I was upset when they took it off Braun that quick. But they obviously had this in mind, which means they're booking weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months and months and months out. But the way that they did this was they put it on Braun to establish him. They took it off to make sure that their main event, Jey Uso, didn't flatten out, and then took it off of Jey again as a way to put more heat on the story that he's in with the bloodline. And Braun ends up champion again, but it didn't the whole thing didn't hurt him in the end. Bravo, I say. That's a golf clap. But what'd you think?
I thought the ending was exciting. I thought the match kind of stunk.
Well, yeah. We've established that.
We also...
You wouldn't say that to Braun Breaker's face, I bet you.
I don't know. Where are we? Where's this happening?
Well, it's you've got a choice of either in public with many witnesses or in the dark in the back of a building all alone.
Do I have any of my weaponry on me?
Only what you normally carry around on the street.
Oh, I'll cut him in half. He'll kick my ass if he gets to use his hands or feet, but I will slice him to bits.
You got those box of awesome knives hidden in your pants.
The title change when it happened a little while back, you weren't very happy about it. You didn't think the timing was right. They were just establishing Braun. Now that you see what they're doing and how this feeds into... The Jey Uso part feeds into now the bigger bloodline thing, because obviously it was a point of family pride. They made a big deal of pointing that out, that he won an Intercontinental Championship. Every area of the family was talking about that. Now he's lost it because of the bloodline. So knowing that Braun's got the belt back, he didn't have it for a little while, but they still kind of kept him strong. And the Jey Uso having the belt now feeds into the bigger storyline.
Yes, and now Roman can talk to Solo about how he's let the family down because he ruined Jay's accomplishment.
I asked you to help me keep my belt. I never cost you your belt.
Yeah.
Do you think that excuses him losing the belt, Braun Breaker losing the belt to Jey Uso?
Yes. That's why I said it's all worked out even better in the end, because they were able to use the situation to further several different things with a couple of different people. So it actually, bravo. But again, that means they're doing weeks and months out, because can you imagine what would have happened to this if it was AEW with not only Tony's attention span, but also the amount of people, for good, bad, or indifferent, that have input and opinion and sway, and them trying to do something that made sense every week, backwards and forwards, when you reflect and genuflect on it from the end of it, that everything still made sense for a 3-month period. Can you see that in AEW?
No way.
That's what I'm saying. This is what's it doesn't even have to. Remember, everybody always says, well, just wait till you see where it's going. Well, a lot of times when you see where it's going, you can pick it apart in any company. A lot of ex-WWE, with Vince around, changing things on the spur of the moment. You know, it didn't make sense because they wouldn't have, why'd they do this and this and this? But in this case, this stuff is tight. And you can tell they're working ahead of time. And yes, every once in a while somebody sprains their giblet and they're out of action, but apart from injury, these people are going with a fucking coherent plan. And everybody's in the right place and doing the right things. That's why everybody's over. And the people are screaming for matches they haven't even fucking offered to give them yet. And the other side of the shit is so last minute, and or does, as we'll get to with the Adam Cole fiasco, doesn't make any goddamn sense from the start, and is not even making sense on the same programs, because it's always being changed, or there's no coherent planned to begin with. It's like they say, oh, yeah, we're going to shoot this angle now. And in 6 months, so-and-so is going to wrestle this guy and it'll be great. And they don't know what the fuck they're going to do in between to get there. Is that a fair comparison from what you're witnessing with your own eyes, Brian Last?
Well, we'll be discussing shortly what I witnessed and what at least a few 100,000 people witnessed. We'll find out how many people witnessed it.
And what the butler saw.
But that was Raw. Of course, Raw is on the USA Network pretty soon, coming to Netflix, AEW, on Warner Brothers Discovery's TBS, and Fox Sports in Mexico. A lot of places, a lot of networks, a lot of streaming services, a lot of countries. You need one source to be able to cut through the crap and get to what you want. Watch the wrestling you want to see, no matter where you are. And Jim, I bet you know someone you could tell everyone about.
Well,
I just bet you do.
I'll tell you what, you're just betting it? Because if you're betting
that's a different one. That's a different
you're
one.
in the wrong fucking...
No, that's a different one. I expressly believe that you may know someone that you could tell everyone about.
Well, that was a very unwieldily worded way to say that, yes, I do know somebody that can unlock the entire world for you, that can make people think that you're places that you're not, that can foil the hackers, that can secure you and your family. These people are even better than a smart 12-year-old. Because did you know, Brian, that a smart 12-year-old with some cheap hardware could hack you? And that's why I've always been against children.
What kind of hardware are they going to hack you with?
Just cheap hardware, the kind you get at a cheap hardware store. And they can make up to $1,000 per person selling your personal identity and information on the dark web. And I'll tell you, I would be insulted. I would offer the guy $2,000 for me. But ExpressVPN will stop any of these hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. They come with all their own equipment. They do it in one day. They burrow underneath your home and encase a tunnel in concrete. And once they put your computer down there, nobody can get into it.
None of that will happen. Or has happened.
It's a secure encrypted tunnel. You know, they make crypts out of things other than concrete these days. So they can actually just pour them and it forms instantly. And they can put you in there in an urn or on a bench or anything. But folks, again, going without ExpressVPN is like leaving your laptop unattended at the coffee shop while you run to the bathroom. By the time you have stopped to wash your hands, somebody could have made off with it. That's why that most people in coffee shops don't wash their hands. So leaving your laptop unattended leads to the spread of disease. Now, what if one day you come out of the bathroom and your hands are clean, but your laptop is gone? What are you going to do then, Brian? What are you going to do then?
I mean, I don't plan on being in this situation, but I could see
Well, that's because you're smart.
Well, thank you very much.
But let's say going online unprotected without ExpressVPN is like leaving your door unlocked when you leave the house. Maybe you can trust some of your neighbors, although I've seen a few of the people that live next door to you.
Have you seen?
But what about the creepy guy down the block? Would you want him to be able to just wander in? What about what about fans from Virginia Beach?
I don't want any of this, and I don't know why this is such a bad example. Why don't we talk about watching television shows from around the world?
Well, no, with ExpressVPN, you can stay safe online without having to trust random strangers that are not going to walk into your home. ExpressVPN will come over every day and make sure that you've locked your door. And going online...
that won't happen, ladies and gentlemen, if you decide to, as you should, check out ExpressVPN, and this is going awful today, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I'm trying to tell the people about the service that ExpressVPN provides. It's going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your kids with the nearest stranger while you go to the restroom. And when you come out, you're going to find that stranger is in another restroom with your kids.
This
Why
may
would
not be
you
the
do
best.
that?
This is not a good example to use.
This is what they're telling me.
Who?
ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN is like walking your dog in public without a leash. What if one day your dog runs off and gets dog napped? The people at ExpressVPN don't want to have to leave their desk to go find your dog. So, folks, again, you don't want to be unprotected out in public.
No.
And you don't want to be unprotected on the interwebs because of the hackers and things. And yes, you can, wink, wink, nod, nod, just program yourself to live in Brazil or Liechtenstein so that you can watch their streaming programs not available in the United States. But also you can encrypt your location so that people, horrible strangers on the dark web, hackers and thieves and identity impersonators and your in-laws, nobody's going to know whether you're in the country or not. And potentially the Internal Revenue Service. But we'll talk about that later in a private conversation.
We will not be talking about that. That is not what this is about. If you want to access the WWE Network, no matter where you are, ExpressVPN is the one for you. Tell them about it, Jim.
Well, yes, you could bypass the cop and go right back to the old network if you still live in the Isle of Man. So you can secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/JCE. That's expressvpn.com/JCE. You're going to get 3 months extra for free. 3 months extra protection, security, peace of mind. All for free if you go to expressvpn.com/JCE.